Well, I just remember last year leaving the game thinking it was a heck of a group. Really, they're even healthier than they were then, and they've added some pieces. Um, I think the biggest thing that stands out is they're taking the ball away. I think they lead the league in either taking them away or differential, and it's a good defense. They're playing well. Obviously, I think the longer they're in that scheme together with Greg Williams, the better they're going to be because he's very multiple and does a ton of different things that never lets you get comfortable. And if you can keep a group together defensively, then the better and better they're going to get at doing it. And that seemed to have shown up this year. I mean, they're a few plays here and there away from having won them all this year. Maybe they probably feel they should have, and they certainly had the opportunity to win them all. So it'll be a heck of a challenge for us.
It's been a while since you've been to the Dog Pound. What do you remember most about the fans and that stadium?
Yeah, well, it's a loyal group. Obviously, we were there a few years ago and had their lone win against us, and it's kind of the old school NFL. There in Kansas City, there's a handful of places that are still kind of that old school NFL feel to it, and obviously the energy that they'll have this week. With the start they've gotten off to, it'll be a heck of a challenge. Both the team and the crowd and the noise, and you're always never know in Cleveland with the weather. So we'll have a work cut out for us for sure.
What are your thoughts on Baker and how he's playing so far?
Yeah, I haven't seen a ton. I mean, obviously, a little bit of the crossover. Seeing him play against Oakland, so last week I was able to see that game of him offensively. Obviously, he sparked him. I mean, obviously, he's playing well enough that they've won. They've won a couple, and he's obviously probably added a lot of energy just in general, both outside the building and inside the building. So I thought he was a heck of a player coming out, and he's only going to continue to prove the more and more he plays, and certainly plays with a lot of confidence, and that's the way to go about it.
Philip, a lot of stats would suggest that this has been the best 5-game start of your career. Does it feel that way personally to you?
In some ways, yeah. I think that's statistically probably is. You still look. I look at especially those two losses, and things could have done better in those games. But as I've always said, I don't think one year leads into the other year. However, I felt a steadiness, like, as I mentioned, as we got in the back half of last year, kind of felt through all the way through the training camp, and so it seems to have kind of carried over in a lot of ways. And not just myself, I think offensively, the balance we have, the how we're using all our guys and weapons, and how the guys are playing up front. So I think it's a collective deal, but certainly we got a ways to go. But it'd be good to kind of keep this thing rolling the way it's going here. It's one game at a time with this 2-game road stretch that we're about to head on.
Philip, your completion percentage is up, I think, as high as it was maybe in 2013. You were right around there. What are the reasons for that? Is it pre-snap what you're able to do, or what do you point to?
Yeah, I think really, I think we finished right around here in 13, right around 70, I think, in 2013. And I've really always kind of had that as the target to try to be there really every year. Again, I think it's a credit to a lot of things. I think our balance helps in that. It's not been 50. It's not having to be a ton of attempts every week. And the protection helps in that big time, and those guys are doing a heck of a job. And then the guys on the outside are making catches. I mean, you think about Tyrell's catch he made a few weeks ago. I mean, that's an incomplete pass to me. As far as it's a negative throw in the sense of accuracy. So I mean, I've been accurate in a lot of ways, but so the guys on the back end are making plays as well. So there's a lot of things involved to complete passes. But if you can complete 70% at 8+ an attempt, then usually and not turn it over, then good things are going to happen.
Is there more of an emphasis just league-wide on taking what the defense is giving you and staying ahead of the sticks?
Well, I don't know there's more emphasis, but I think some of the whole, just more of the speed sweep stuff you've seen, just more of the, get the ball out and let's see if the defense can tackle you, and I think that's what you've seen all over, and just keep throwing completions. And we've always thought that, especially as an offense, just keep completing passes, even if they're for 3 and 4 and then 8. As a defense, it wears on them because all they know is another completion, right? They're not necessarily seeing you throw a completion in the flat for 3 yards, it's a completion. Although that's probably a win for the defense, but in the scheme as the game flow goes, You keep throwing completions, usually something happens. Somebody's going to miss a tackle. Somebody's going to break a long one. And I think with the skill players, I know they've always been good, but we've got a great group. You just see all over the league, these guys, how dangerous they are with the ball in their hand. I think get it to our guys and see if they can tackle, and usually good things happen.
To that point, the way your running backs are catching the ball and the frequency with they're catching the ball, how much does that add to what you're able to do offensively?
Well, a lot. I think as a young rookie, I was just asked about Drew. Those years with Drew and Cam Cameron, and just so many times hearing, and then with Norv, so many times hearing check down. Check down. Hey, you got a shot. It's not there. Check down, and you get 12 yards. I think, and I've always believed that. And Wiz has been the same way in our time together. But I think when you're running it is when it helps. When you're running the ball the way we're running it, it even adds to that. There's been tons in these last 5 games where it's play action and there's guys running deep overs and people all over the place, and it's here Melvin, and you look up and it's a 13-yard gain. So I think it's always been in the back of my head is if it doesn't look good, get these guys the ball, because you play action and the linebackers turn and run, and then you dump it to those guys, and with their ability, with Austin and Melvin's ability to catch the ball and do something with it, you take 12 yards a pop on any of those. So and then there's a lot of things we do where they're number one in the progression, where we free release them, like Austin's touchdown last week, or it being the screen game. So I think we have an ability to be very multiple in both our who we get the ball to and how we do it, and the scheme wise. There's so many different things we can do, and our guys. Credit to the offensive staff for being so creative, but I think it asks a lot of your players, and we have a sharp group, and then a group that enjoys that kind of that mental challenge of how much can we do, how much can we handle, and I think we ask a lot of them, and it's impressive how flexible they are, because it's not easy to do all the things we do and multiple formations and shifts and all those things and make it go and still play fast, but our guys handle it well.
As far as your versatility at the running back with receiving and running, is this the best you've had since maybe 06, 07 with LaDainian and Loneal?
Yeah, I get I try my hardest to stay away from best I've ever had or best I've ever been around, because that's no, but I know that's hard to do, because it seems wherever you are in the moment, that's who and so we've had some great back combinations here all the way back to those years in 06 when it was LT and Michael Turner and Sproles. That stretch went for a while with LT, and after Mike went and Sproles, and then you looked up and shooting Ryan Matthews and Tolbert and Hester and Woodhead and shoot the stretch with Ronnie Brown, and now and I probably left some guys out, so sorry the guys I left out, but we've had some good backs that were very complete and could handle it, and these two and all those guys have a nice knack for it as well, being able to do a little bit of everything.
Well, Wiz was kind of suggesting that not that you took your conditioning more seriously, but that you really upped your game conditioning-wise leading into this season. Do you feel better physically than you would normally at this point?
Yeah, no, not so much at this point, but I felt better physically in January than I felt in some time finishing a season. I just had nothing. I had nothing nagging whatsoever. Usually you finish the year and something hurts for a while into January, but it was one of those. We finished hot, and I felt really good, and it was, gosh, can we start this season right now? I just remember feeling that way in January and February. So I maybe kind of got back in the routine, physically working and doing some things sooner than normal, and I felt good all off season into this year so far. And again, I didn't do a lot of change up to the off season. But I think, again, I haven't been on the ground very much. These guys up front doing a heck of a job.
Baker took some hits during the draft for maybe being too fiery or trash talking a little bit. You're a fiery guy. How come quarterbacks can't get away with that or held to different standards, maybe compared to running backs or receivers?
I don't know. I think it's just like every position in different sports too, right? Pitchers and these guys and outfielders and first basemen are this way, and everybody's kind of has a certain prototype, I guess, that they see. But I think, at least I've learned, I don't know Baker at all, but I think you got to know the boundaries, but then I think you got to be yourself. I mean, that's when each individual will perform their best, is when they're themselves, while also trying to improve in every area they can if there's a better way. So, but I think over time, if you're yourself and you do it the right way, then over time people kind of figure you out.
When you guys started the season, you guys had Russell and Joe, and now you guys have Trent and Sam playing. How do you think they've adapted to the starting role?
They did a nice job. You're speaking of Russell and Joe like they're gone forever. I don't think that's the case. There's a chance you may see them both trotting out there this afternoon when you come over to the early part of practice, at least hopefully. But I thought Trent and Sam did a heck of a job. They battled. I think it's one thing we have with all our group, those first five, and then you mentioned, Trent and Sam now have been thrown into that role. Sam more so than Trent, more game experience since week one. But we got a gritty, tough group, and I'm glad and excited about the guys we have.
Phil, since you mentioned Drew, just your thoughts on him Monday night breaking that record.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, I certainly was. I was tuned in watching it, counting the yards down. A heck of an accomplishment. It's crazy when you really think about it, how many yards that is. That's a ton of yards. But I think credit to him, obviously, and I heard Drew's comments of him thinking and giving credit to so many people that had a hand in it, as you'd expected him to do. But obviously, he's a talented player and a passer and all those things. But I think obviously his hard work and preparation, and really probably maybe more than anything, the belief in himself. I think I wasn't here during the early times of his first couple of years, but I know it was a bumpy start, and then I get drafted here, 4, and shoot, he kept me sitting for those 2 years, and I was able to watch and learn, and he really got it going then, and then what he's done in New Orleans the last 13 or whatever has been remarkable. So I was happy for him. He and I still keep in touch, and it was fun to watch.